Everyone. My name is Jared Bertaldo, one of the hosts for the Charter School Connection podcast. And today is Tuesday, the 14th of March, and we've got a very special guest with us here. So how about you go and introduce yourself, and we can talk a little bit about what makes your charter school unique.
My name is Nichole Tredway, and I have been teaching for a number of years. And I have currently taken the principal's position at a new charter school in South Bend, Indiana, named Paramount School of Excellence.
Awesome. I did a little bit of research about your guys' school. It seems like you have a number of campuses across Indiana. Is that correct?
It is correct. And one of the reasons that I went ahead and joined Paramount is because of that specifically. A lot of times charter schools are only as good as the dynamic person that opens them in the beginning. And if that person chooses to move on, things sort of crumble in the absence of that person. Paramount has replicated their system 4 times now, and that replication has resulted in even more success for each campus that opens than what they had originally. So the achievement is the same, and I am interested in the system that they use when they open a building, because we certainly want to offer the very best that we can to South Bend.
Right. That's wonderful to hear. So tell me a little bit about your pathway. What got you involved in charter schools?
I was done as an educator. Right now, being involved in education in this country is difficult for everybody involved. I was in a position where I couldn't support teachers the way I believe that should be done. It's not working for students and parents to a satisfactory way for them to be involved in school and things going smoothly. And I don't believe that education is happening the way that it, to the degree that it should be happening here. And I had decided to move on, maybe move into the corporate world and do something else for a while. And I had applied to Paramount and was called and asked for an interview, and just decided to do the interview so that I didn't look bad to people. And the very first thing I believed, because the school that I'm currently in, I believed that I had applied to South Bend Community Schools. The charter school had purchased this school from South Bend. And the very first thing that we started talking about in that interview was the fact that Paramount is a charter school out of Indianapolis. And my first comment was, I do not believe in charter schools. I accidentally applied for this job. I spent the next 3 weeks interviewing them instead of the other way around. And every one of my concerns was addressed beautifully. And then I thought they were feeding me a line. And so I asked to see it in real life and drove down to Indy. And everything they told me is true. And I was so impressed that I said, if you're not going to hire me, just let me come and see it.
Wow, that's actually a pretty impactful story.
Yeah.
I'm curious, and I don't mean to pry, but I would love to know, like, what's an example of one of those things that you weren't on board with charter schools about that they were able to correct for you?
Well, okay. So I believed in a lot of the charter school myths. As a public education teacher, I believed that every child in our state should be offered a free education, and that should be provided by the state. I wasn't aware that most charter schools are, in fact, free. I believe in standardized testing. I believe in holding students and teachers accountable, maybe not the way that that looks always, but I believe that in some measure, we should be monitoring how good of a job we're doing and not just passing that off. So those were a couple of the things that we addressed early on. Paramount is a free charter school. They accept every single student and hold standardized testing to be super important in classrooms. So that was just the very beginning of my conversation with them.
Well, that's really cool to hear. I can say I went to a charter school in Colorado, a K through 12 one, and I had a great experience. I had the option to switch schools, but I really enjoyed like having a better student to teacher ratio,
Right.
right? And so for me, it felt like it was a really good environment just to have like your education with growing up. Um, and that's definitely one of the things that people appreciate is having charter schools having that access to education that a lot of kids may not have otherwise. And having data-driven results is very important. So I like that you said that. Um, so is there anyone that you would say inspired you to go into this profession, or anybody that was currently in this profession that you took a lot of insight from?
I I don't know. I always loved my teachers when I was in school. I've always loved school, and I am the cliche. I've always wanted to be a teacher, from the time I was a little girl. So I don't have a specific person, but I have a passion for what we do.
Yeah, I'm sure it must have been a lot of teachers probably all had a bit of an impact on you, I guess.
Yes. There was only one teacher in my whole elementary and high school career that I didn't care for, but I'm not going to tell you who it was.
Oh yeah, yeah, no, that's fine. Um, well, well, yeah. So you mentioned that now you're a principal. Do you prefer being like in the administrative position, or do you prefer being like one-on-one with the kids and being a teacher?
It's interesting you should ask that, because I was just having a conversation this morning. So Paramount, in addition to opening the school, a year beforehand, launched a tutoring center free of charge for any student through 8th grade, for anybody that comes in our local mall. And we did that for publicity, but also because Paramount believes in partnering with the community and doing what's best for the community. And that has just exploded. And I was in charge of that originally when I was first hired, before they moved me over to the school to get ready to open here. And anytime there's a staffing shortage there, I go back over and I tutor all night with one-on-one with kids. And I leave that feeling very energized and excited, because I do really love working with kids and teaching. And I always forget how much that does for me. But I like what I do right now too. And it's a privilege to be in the position that I'm in. So I'm hoping I can learn some balance moving forward.
Yeah, balance is good. Would you say there's anything about your guys' school that makes you guys unique compared to other charter schools?
Definitely.
Okay.
Paramount is systematized. Every single thing that we do here is codified. So teacher training is always the same, and every teacher is taught to present lessons the exact same way. The bank of assessment tools is very, very tight, and the way that we assess students is systematized, so that all looks the same. Principals are trained a certain way, and it's what it has resulted in is a way to duplicate the process, but also to duplicate the success that comes around. Because of that, there's a system for every single thing we do, and those are started again when a new school is opened. And that makes Paramount very unique.
Yeah, so you guys have a lot of systems put in place to maintain like consistency, I guess, with the performance across all of your teachers.
Yes.
How many teachers do you have in your facility, I guess, in South Bend?
We are currently enrolling students, and I am at 8 current teachers. And as students are enrolled, then I have to increase that number because we're offering more and more sections of each grade level.
Right. What would you say your student body is at currently?
We checked this morning, we are at 138 students. Our original goal was 125 just to get open, and we are hoping now to double our original prospect.
Wow, yeah,
I
that's
know.
that can be ambitious, and a lot of schools oftentimes like growth can be a struggle. It can be a barrier to overcome, and not only bringing in new students, but growing the campus or growing the building and having the facilities adequate for it. Would you say you guys would need to also expand your facilities to in order to achieve that goal, or are you guys set up pretty well right now to take in more students?
To open, we are in the middle of a $3 million remodel of this building, complete with solar panels on our roof. We partnered with South Bend Community to add that, so as part of their green project for
Yeah,
the
that's
area.
awesome.
Oh yeah, it is so awesome. So when we open, new carpet, new paint, everything top of the line. And then we already have a phase 2 that has been drawn up. So pending our numbers, we will be starting a complete addition of a middle school to what's existing here right now. And that's exciting. There's a chance we may get to begin that before we even open in the fall.
That's great. So
Yeah,
do you guys currently have a kindergarten through fifth grade or elementary school? Is that what you currently have?
we will open kindergarten through 6th grade. Our 6th graders will be our first 7th graders, and first 8th graders.
Yeah.
We will roll those up. And then we have partnered with Purdue Polytechnic High School, and each of our students will have a seat at Purdue Polytech. They may choose where they want to go to high school in the area, but they will be guaranteed that they can attend there if they decide to do that.
That's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a lot. That's really good opportunity for kids.
Yeah.
So with the hiring process for your teachers, how do you hire the right teachers? Like, do you guys look for anything in particular? Is there a bit of a process for that?
Our process is completely character-based.
Yeah.
So we start by looking for good people, because we can teach anyone to teach, but we can't teach you to be kind and love kids. So we are looking very specifically for people that are from the community and want to give back to the community, people that have hearts for service, and people that enjoy children and other people, enjoy being coached in this industry, because we coach our teachers pretty hard and want people to look a certain way. And there are people that desire that kind of feedback. So that's who we're after.
Right. Well, that's beautiful. I like what you said. You can't, you can train anybody to be a good teacher, but you can't necessarily make someone be a good person, kind, understanding. That's very important for teachers to have. So that's awesome that you guys have that. With your teachers, do they frequently interact with the parents? Do you guys strive or work to involve the parents with the operations of the school at all?
Absolutely. So our teachers are specifically trained to reach out to parents frequently and in a positive manner over and over again before we ever have to make a negative phone call. So we have, requirements for those types of things, and we have that in professional development. I have an enrollment team, which I've never had at any school ever. So I have these 2 really amazing people that, as we get ready to open our school, they are out in the community and planning activities. So we have 2 events, huge events, that are happening every month up until the month that we open. And we invite not only our kids that are enrolled with us, but also the entire South Bend community. So wherever your child attends, you're welcome here if you are just a part of things. So this Friday night, we are starting with a movie night here. We've got a popcorn machine and ice cream, have partnered with a local pizza place. They're going to bring down 500 slices, and we're going to open up the school so that we truly can begin that image of being available to the people that live here.
Yeah, that sounds like a good time. Well, what movie are you guys going to show? I'm just
Toy
curious.
Story.
Toy Story, good one, classic. Yeah,
Right.
wonderful. Yeah, it's very important to like stay connected with the parents. The trainings that you do for the teachers, do you like head that up as the principal, or is it something that like, I guess the corporate side of you guys' school, since you have multiple campuses, is that something that they do consistently across every school, or is it up to the principal to implement those trainings?
No, they're done across every school. Again, everything is systematized. So, and our corporate team is fairly small. So my supervisor and I have already talked about each day for professional development and worked on what that looks like, but it is the same each time a new school opens. So I have been directed on how to roll that out.
Right. And so with the kids that you guys have coming in, what like how do you try to inspire them to go out and operate in today's world?
The word that we use here is grit. We work really hard to instill grit and perseverance into every one of our students. And so every lesson that we teach has a struggle time in it where kids have to demonstrate that they are attempting and show what they have retained from the mini lesson that the teacher taught. But if there's nothing and there's no attempt, then there are consequences for that. And we work hard to build positive habits where everyone is working toward the goal, but also okay with that internal struggle a little bit and grappling with new concepts.
Yeah, I see. Grit, good old-fashioned grit, hard work, positive rewards. And you guys had mentioned, well, you had said earlier that you had overcome some challenges like with being in charter schools and just like working as a teacher in general. Since you've been with South Bend, have you guys had to overcome any kind of hurdles? I know the pandemic was fairly recent, and a lot of people that certainly didn't simplify things.
No, and personally, the way we did education during the pandemic, that didn't work either. And so now we've got a whole bunch of kids with mental health issues and learning loss and all of these things that need to be addressed. Another reason that I joined Paramount, their teaching model combined with their curriculum, they have evidence that 1 year in their system can close the learning gap for most students that join their charter school. And I love the idea of saying, bring your kids to us. We can help. We know what we're doing and we will get them caught back up. But you can't say that without evidence that what you're offering actually is going to work. And this is working. And I like that.
That's good. Data proven results is, the most reliable. That's good to hear that. If you were to go back in time, is there anything that you would have done differently, like when you started your job working, or I guess when you started working with South Bend?
I don't think so. I think things happen the way that they're supposed to happen. I am blessed to have been a literacy specialist for a long time and worked in intervention, and I learned a lot coming up through there that I can use to help kids and teachers and parents now. And I'm thankful for all of that time that I put in.
Yeah. I guess if you do things differently, you learn different lessons and you may not know what you know now.
Right.
Yeah. So that's good. I'm glad that you've been able to really work hard and see positive results for your guys' school. And you seem like a very caring person, and I believe that you've been a very positive impact and the correct move for the Paramount school down there.
Thank you.
What tips would you have for someone who is also leading or would potentially be starting their own charter school? Do you have any kind of advice that you would pass on to them?
One of the things that has enabled us to grow quickly is that things that we do are kept simple. And all of the people are kept humble. And I love this educational model. Like, I believe in it with my entire heart. What is offered is excellence in education, but also personal growth. And again, with that character-based hiring, the people that are above me that continue my growth are tremendous individuals. And again, yesterday I've been with the organization for a year. Again, yesterday I met with some of the people, and the interest in me as a person, and what I do here, and specifically how I'm doing it and how I reach out to families in this community. That was the entire focus and the entire goal. And that impresses me, that people from Indianapolis are worried about the kids that we are serving way up north.
Yeah. One of the things that I've been learning while talking with you is it seems like your school, both as just your individual facility in South Bend and Paramount as a whole, it seems like you guys are very well built with, capable and qualified teachers from the ground up. And I
Yes.
think that makes for a very strong and stable structure.
Yes.
So is there anything on the local, state, or federal level, any kind of law that you would like to have, that you would like to see happen, that would make maybe your job easier, or maybe make it easier for kids to access education? Is there anything that you would have to say on that?
Yeah, we're always looking at the way charter schools are funded. And I believe in this so much now, but we receive less funding, as do probably most states, than public schools do, because we don't get tax dollars. And I know that there are a lot of states right now that are looking at that. Several states have moved to those tax dollars follow the student no matter where they go. And I would like to see that here in Indiana as well.
Is that unique to Indiana, I guess, or are there other parts of the country that you're aware of that might?
We were talking, there are several states in recently that have changed, and their tax dollars go to their charter schools, and funding is equal regardless, public, charter, private, whatever. We are not there yet, and I'm not sure how long it'll take us to get there, but I am hopeful that we can get that achieved.
For sure, that's something we'd like to see down in Indiana.
Yeah.
So, and oftentimes, politics and state laws and stuff like that, there can be a lot of things that are out of our control. But I believe that there is always something that we can do, that we can make a goal to work towards. So is there anything, any kind of current goal or objective that you guys have as a school that you're currently working towards, something that's more in your control?
So funding is something that we can't control. However, we can control being fiscally responsible. And Paramount is very, very good at managing money and making sure that all of our resources are held for teachers and students. For instance, the money that was used to start this school, and we are simultaneously opening a school in Lafayette, Indiana. That money has been liquid. There was no borrowing necessary for us to be able to do that. Again, as I came into this organization, that is impressive, to come to a school that says, we've got this cash here. You don't have to turn a profit in your first year. Just reach out and convince people that we're doing good things. And to be told that, and to not be worried about numbers in the early game, is pretty phenomenal.
Yeah, I would say it's pretty special to be able to open a whole new location just off of liquid funds. That's pretty impressive.
Right.
And so if you were to, I think I might have an answer to this question, but if you were to have a billboard, I guess, your own space out in front of your school that just had one line, one slogan, like what message would you want the community to read whenever they drive by your school?
This is the best educational opportunity in the entire state, and I believe that with my whole heart.
That's wonderful. My
Yeah.
guess was going to be you're going to have grit on there. I think yours is much more a little bit more special, more of a mission statement, I guess. So on a similar note, if let's say you were given a magic wand and you could just have one wish to make one thing completely fixed, money, time, no issues, what's one thing that you would want to change with your school?
We have so many families that are experiencing hardship on so many different levels. And if I could change anything, I would just fix all of that and make things just a little bit easier for everybody.
Yeah, if the homes are happy, the kids are happy, and makes the school a better place, I guess, right?
Yep.
Yeah, well, that's beautiful. Do you have any kind of, be it funny, unique, or really learning moment, kind of experiences that you've had since you've been with Paramount that you could share with us?
I have some things I'm excited about. Um, I recently, my husband and I invested in a saltwater fish tank. And part of what Paramount believes in is exposing kids in the community to things that they may not ever get to see anywhere. And so early on in the stages of this, I was like, oh my gosh, I need a little fish tank with like Nemo and Dory in it, like in the lobby. Can I do that? And this week we are installing a 240-gallon, 7-foot long saltwater fish tank because Paramount doesn't play. That's what I was told. We don't play. And
Yep.
this thing is beautiful. We will have the opportunity for it to be a student-led club. So the kids will be doing all of the testing of the water and maintaining all of the levels that need to be maintained and feeding all of the different animals that we're going to have inside there. And I love that. I love that I had this little idea and they dream even bigger than I dream, which isn't normal. And here comes my fish tank through the generosity of the community and the generosity of the people at Paramount. It's exactly what I wanted it to look like. The other thing that has happened, and the people in the community are beginning to comment on the generosity of what we're seeing. I asked for an archery team. I happened to hire a teacher who said, hey, years ago in Chicago, I was a competitive archery coach. Would you be interested in? And the answer was, oh my gosh, yes,
Wow.
like
Yeah.
whatever. So all of that is in the works. That is completely funded to start. I don't know what it looks like when elementary kids are practicing with arrows. I am still investigating how to keep that safe. But I'm super excited. And every time we come up with something that's a little bit out of the box or a little bit, it doesn't look like a normal conventional school, that is, for the most part, embraced with open arms and encouraged highly. And so I think the sky's kind of the limit, and I'm excited about that.
Yeah, those are two very out of the box programs that you guys have going on. And I was going to ask, like, how big is the fish tank? But 7 feet, 240 gallons, that's pretty big.
It's enormous, and it's also, that makes it kind of a little bit of a risk because, I mean, the one I have at home that I've practiced on, I can keep all of those fish alive, but I'm really nervous. You can't have a bunch of kids in a building with a bunch of fish floating. Like, I feel like that would be traumatic. So we're going to have to make it work, right?
To work, like have the kids step in, but maybe have someone that knows a little bit better.
Yeah.
Done right.
I need a guy for that, don't I? Another thing that Paramount does is we put cheese making equipment in all of our schools. So in our phase 2, we feel like we have to prove ourselves first because there's an ordinance against having goats in town in South Bend, Indiana.
Oh.
But in Indianapolis, every school has a group of goats that the kids milk, and they make cheese, and they have their own farmers market, and they sell the cheese there to both parents, and then they sell it to the local restaurants in the area. We will be starting our urban farm with chickens and gardening and beekeeping. So those will all be things that are available to our kids too. And when you say that, nobody else is doing that. And I love it.
Yeah, you guys have, I mean, that's even more. I thought it was just going to be 2 out of the box ideas. You guys got like 3 or 4 more.
Oh no, there are so many out of the box ideas, to the point that I think the board, maybe when they see me come in, kind of cringes a little bit, but we're doing okay.
You're doing okay. Well, there you go. Truly, I think this school sounds like a special place. I think the kids that are having the opportunity to go there and experience all these programs that you guys have for them is very special. And they're definitely lucky that someone as capable and kind as you is taking the time to build up this school that seems to have a lot of support from very caring and capable leaders. So I think you guys are doing a wonderful work.
Thank
And
you.
any of our viewers or listeners, I would encourage all of them to go and check out more about Nicole's school and see what else, see what other programs they have, because I'm sure there's a lot that we just don't have time to talk about today. Nicole, was there anything else that you would like to share with us?
No, I just want to thank you for your time and for having me.
Yeah, well, it's been a pleasure. And so tune in next time, everybody, and we'll talk more and we'll see you guys then.